Today I'm going to show you how to change out the piston in its chair. As you know, these things don't last very long. They start going flat. They either won't go up or they go down when you don't want them to, whatever. Forgive the noise. It's raining outside. There's construction going on and I got the 3D printer running, so I'll try to talk a little louder. But okay, so we're going to change out this piston. My warning is that these things contain highly compressed gas. Even when they go flat, there's still a danger. Don't open them up, don't saw them, don't bang on them, nothing like that, okay? So having said that, let's get started. To outline what we're going to do, I'm going to remove the back first, and then I'm going to remove the seat. Then I'm going to flip this upside down. There's a large metal plate under here, and I'm going to rest it on the plate, and that'll put the legs up in the air. On the bottom of these legs down here is a clip and a washer. I'm going to remove that, and then I'm going to carefully lift the legs off because there's a washer, a bearing, and a washer on the bottom of this piston. Then we are going to remove the piston, put in a new one, and then reverse all the other steps and put things back. Let's get started. Normally you'd lay this over sideways because it'll take some pressure off the back when you're removing it. But I can't do that and show it on camera. So, okay, so you remove your back. There may be a bolt here instead of this, but whatever it is for your chair, remove the back. Then we're going to remove these 4 bolts. Again, they vary. I just did one the other day that was an Allen screw. These are Phillips or a hex head, either way. And just remove these 4 screws. They're getting kind of old and rusty, but they're still doing the job. There we go. Yeah, I cheated a little bit and loosened them up ahead of time. And they wound up in the fabric. And then the last one is down here. Binding up on me. Okay. Okay, remove the bottom and set it off to the side. Here's that metal plate I was talking about. Here's the top of the piston. You don't want to go banging around on that with a hammer. It may seem like a good idea. It's not. Again, this thing's full of high pressure oil and gas. Even when they're flat, they still got pressure in them, so don't do that. Okay, so yeah, this is the metal plate. We're going to flip this upside down like this so that we can work on it. And then we're going to remove a clip that's on this end, and the tricky part of this whole thing is this clip. It has a locking clip on it. I'll give you a close-up of that, show you how that's done. So remove the clip. We'll slide this, the legs up and off, and that will help keep the bearings and washers that are down inside of here, keep them on the end of this shaft rather than losing them inside of this pipe. Okay, so what I'm going to do is this locking clip, I'm going to put the screwdriver in between the 2 leaves of it. Then I'm going to rotate it to lift up the top and just slide it out of the back like that. So to remove this washer, there's a washer up here underneath the clip. Now I'm going to carefully remove the legs. That came off pretty easily. Now at the end of this shaft is going to be 2 washers and a bearing, except I happen to know on this chair that the bearing disintegrated last time when I changed this. It had already fallen apart. It's just a cheap plastic thing and never been able to find another one. However, I also found that you don't really need the bearing. But there's going to be 2 washers up here. Normally the bearing would be in between these. There's a thick washer, and that goes up towards the bottom of the chair, and then there's a thin washer that goes down towards the leg. That's important. If you get them reversed, this thin washer will fail and you'll end up with it kind of binding up and grinding up inside there, okay? So we're going to remove those 2. It's going to leave us with the piston and the metal plate, and this is where we do the magic of removing the piston from the metal plate. What I'm going to do is I'm going to strike this metal base here and then go opposite, and then here, and then opposite on opposite corners. And I've already done this, so it's going to pop off pretty easily. Normally you have to pound on it a little bit. Also you can strike here and here on this upper piece, but not all chairs have this upper piece. So yeah, so hold on to the piston and strike like this, like that, and again that came off kind of easily. So now we've got the piston. Okay, we've got our new piston. We insert in the square plate here. We give it a good shove into the hole because it's only held by friction. Then we put on our thick washer. If you have the bearings and they're not destroyed, you put those on next. Then you put on the thin washer. Now we set the legs on here and see if we can get this thing to line up. And sometimes the shaft is a little bit less than cooperative. There we go. We get that on there. Now we're going to put on the washer we took off earlier. And it goes on here. And then finally, we return the clip. Now we're going to stand this up, or actually I'll lay it over, and then we're going to put the seat back on it and the back. Okay, now it's time to put the seat back on, so we'll just do this. The front of the seat on this thing has an arrow, tells me which way the front of the seat was. And then we're just going to put our 4 screws. And of course, as soon as we get our 4 screws in, we just need to put the back on the chair. And then we are pretty much finished. I mean, a new chair can cost 5 times, 6 times what one of these pistons cost. So this is definitely a skill worth having. Okay, I got my screws in there. Then you want to crank these down pretty good. You don't want your seat coming loose. Okay, so the seat's on. Now I'm going to reposition so we can put the back on. Here I've got it lined up. I just need to get my bolt in there. Torque it down to how you want. And okay. Okay, so that's it for replacing the pneumatic tube on an office chair and similar. Hope you found that useful and interesting in your home DIY and right to repair work.